A very good morning, and uh, and for those coming in remotely, a very good afternoon and possibly good evening. Welcome. My name is Devanand Tilaksing, Director of the Trinidad and Tobago Computer Society, and I would like to welcome you all on this occasion of universal acceptance. The Trinidad and Tobago Computer Society, with several of the stakeholders, which you'll hear shortly, have come together to do this universal acceptance adoption event, which is going to look at the issues and the challenges regarding universal acceptance. And on this session, you also get a chance to learn about what is the universal acceptance and some of the challenges that that we need to do to overcome it, and of course the benefits, the clear benefits of universal acceptance. The Trinidad and Tobago Computer Society has had a long collaboration with ICANN, starting from December 2006, when we created the Latin American and Caribbean Regional at-Large Organization, which is now coming up to 20 years in existence. Since then, the members of the TTCS has participated in ICANN at large, serving in various roles such as the Lacralo Secretariat and the ALAC chair, as well as one of the vice chairs. And we have also chaired numerous at-large working groups. So with that, I would like to thank you for taking the time to attend this meeting. And I'd like to turn over the floor to the representative from the Internet Society of Trinidad and Tobago, Niran Bihari.
Good morning, all. Welcome to this session on universal acceptance. Pardon the background noise. On this particular day of this particular event, we are happy to coordinate this session on universal acceptance. I'm seeing David Fink, who is our expert, resident in-house expert there, and he shall be giving, a talk and some points on it. And on behalf of the Trinidad and Tobago chapter, I would like to welcome you to this session.
Thank you, Niran, and this is Devanand again for the transcript record. Next, we have Anna Ramanan on behalf of UWI Global Services.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you, Arnold. We're expected to have somebody from the Latin American and Caribbean Regional at-Large Organization, but I think he's having some connection difficulties. So with that, we will go to the some welcome addresses.
Hello, I'm Tripti Sinha, Chair of the ICANN Board, and I'm delighted to welcome everyone to UA Day 2024. This second annual UA Day is a celebration of universal acceptance as well as the many languages that are spoken and used around the world today. I was born in India, a country rich with linguistic diversity, and spent much of my life moving back and forth between India and the US. As a native Hindi speaker, I understand firsthand how important universal acceptance is to enable the Internet to work the same for everyone, regardless of the language they speak or the script they use. Today, there are more than 5.3 billion Internet users and billions more expected to come online. Most of these new users will be from countries where people speak and write in languages other than English. By achieving universal acceptance in every internet-enabled device, software application, and system, we can help ensure a more inclusive internet for both new and existing users. When people can use the language and script of their choice online, they are able to experience the full social and economic power of the internet. Universal acceptance means that no one is excluded, no one is left behind. Whether you are joining a UA Day event virtually or in person, your contributions are important. By participating in UA Day, being part of the UA community, and making your own systems UA ready, you are helping build a truly global, multilingual internet. This work is a collective effort of many, and I'm encouraged and inspired by everyone's commitment. I'm especially pleased that many of this year's events are focused on UA adoption, as it shows how far we've come in building support for UA. Thank you to the organizers of this year's UA Day events, to everyone taking part around the world, and to all those who have made this milestone event possible. Together, we are moving closer to making universal acceptance a reality and building one internet for all. Thank you.
Hello to everyone participating in UA Day 2024. I'm Sally Costerton, Interim President and CEO at ICANN, and I'm so pleased to see the excitement and engagement in this special event from the internet community around the world. Digital inclusivity is of utmost importance for ICANN. We firmly believe that everyone, regardless of their background, culture, language, or location, should be able to experience the full benefits of the internet by using domain names and keyboards in their own languages and scripts. One of the foundational requirements of a truly inclusive and multilingual internet is universal acceptance. UA ensures that all valid domain names and email addresses, regardless of script, language, or character length, can be used seamlessly by all internet-enabled applications, devices, and systems. At ICANN, championing UA is part of our strategic goals. We believe that UA is critical to ensuring that billions of people around the world can access the internet in a meaningful way. It's also key to unlocking the potential of new generic top-level domains to foster competition, consumer choice, and innovation in the domain name industry. The launch of the next round of new TLDs will help make the internet even more accessible by expanding the number of domain names in native scripts and languages. This continued expansion of the domain name system, along with ongoing efforts to achieve UA adoption, will benefit current internet users as well as the next billion who come online. Thank you for all of your efforts in making the internet more accessible and inclusive. It's a collective responsibility, and while we still have a way to go, we also have many reasons to celebrate how far we've come. With every new UA milestone, we're one step closer to realizing our vision of one world, one internet.
Hi, it's a privilege to be here. We live in a truly multilingual world with millions of speakers communicating in their local languages. To allow these individuals to navigate the internet and communicate online effectively, ICANN and its community are working hard to enable domain names and email addresses in local languages. Even though it is now possible to have domain names and email addresses in local languages, they're not always supported by software applications. And this hinders digital inclusion of these users and the communities of yourselves who want to use your language. A concept known as universal acceptance, or UA, aims to make it possible for everyone, no matter where they live or what language they speak, to use the internet with their choice of domain name or email address and their language of choice. Achieving UA, or universal acceptance, has economic and social benefits by allowing multilingual internet users to access and connect to businesses and local communities as well as embrace cultural traditions. ICANN.org, many organizations and a community of volunteers worldwide have been working hard to encourage universal acceptance of all valid domain names and email addresses in any length in language or script to promote digital inclusion. You can do your part by getting involved in UA events in your local community and supporting the use of all domain names and email addresses in your own software applications. Your contribution matters to making digital inclusion possible for all.
Hello, I am Anil Kumar Jain, Chair of the Universal Acceptance Steering Group. I am very happy to welcome all you to this UA Day event. The UASG is a volunteer-based focused on raising awareness of the importance of universal acceptance in collaboration and with support from ICANN. We also provide resources to help organizations adopt UA, including technical documentation, how-to guides, UA-ready code samples, and much more. From a technical standpoint, UA ensure that all valid domain names and email addresses in any language or script are accepted, validated, processed, stored, and displayed equally, consistently, and correctly. When you adopt UA by updating legacy systems and ensuring every new system is built to accept all domain names and email addresses, you are supporting all current users as well as making the internet more accessible and inclusive for the next billion who come online. This work takes all of us. I want to thank the UASG ambassadors, local initiatives, and many UASG members for your contribution toward a UA-ready world, and those of you who have helped make UA Day 2024 a reality.
Okay, thank you so much to all of our those greetings from those participants, underscoring the critical need for universal acceptance in order to enable internet applications and services to be able to accept new top-level domains and, of course, internationalized domain names, so that we can, receive and process and store and exchange information with such using such domain names and internationalized domain names and email addresses. So up next is Daniel Fink from ICANN's Global Stakeholder Engagement. He is from Brazil, and Daniel Fink will be talking about the, what, how, and why of universal acceptance. So Daniel, thank you so much for taking the time for joining our call today. And you have the floor. I believe you should have sharing access. I can make a I'll make you a co-host. And
okay,
that should...
No worries. Take your time.
All right.
Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you good.
Okay. All right. Good to be among friends. I see many people. Claire, thank you for the invitation as well. Hi, Chrislyn, our UA ambassador. I see your photo here. And thank you for the Trinidad and Tobago Computer Society for organizing this together with ISOC Trinidad and Tobago, our friends from ISOC. Hello, University of West Indies, UWI Campus. Congratulations, and special congratulations, because for doing a UA adoption event like this is something very hard to do and full of accomplishments, as we'll see in the next speech. This is much more than a simple awareness event about UA, but actually something that you will show your results about actually doing what is necessary for achieving a truly multilingual internet. So this is the first seed that we have in the Caribbean that may flourish into many other UA adoption exercises. So thank you so much for this. So as Dev said, my name is Daniel. I am part of the engagement team for Latin American Caribbean. I work in the same team as your friend, Albert Daniels, who is responsible for the Caribbean. But I am a little bit in the south of the region. Actually, now I am in Uruguay. So the idea today is to talk about to you more details on the concept of universal acceptance and why this is happening, why ICANN is involved on this, and what is the role of the global. And this is the thing, like, what is the role of the global IT developer community? What is the role of everybody who develop and manage online systems? And as you may see, this is a huge scale of people, organizations, institutions who should know about UA. And this is the big problem. The concept is very easy. The implementation is not so hard, the technical implementation, but the scale is huge. Together with this scale, there are business opportunities, there are research opportunities, and a huge social importance. And this is what we're gonna tell you more. This is some slides to guide our discussions today. I hope you can see. And I always start with a little story, because for you to understand the importance of universal acceptance, we have to think as somebody who lives in another part of the world, maybe in Asia or India or China or Russia, something like that. So the story I would like to propose you is to imagine in a parallel universe, what if the internet was invented in somewhere else instead of United States? What about if the internet was invented in South Korea? How the computer science would be organized if all the systems were programmed and developed based in another set of characters. Okay, of course, Koreans, they love their Korean script, which is very beautiful, very simple, maybe suitable for computer science. But for us, if they invented the internet, probably this is what we would experience as navigating in the internet, utilizing browsers and other applications. As you can see here, even the domain name of this website is in Korean. Okay, so how would you feel? Maybe you want to access the university website to see instructions in your language, English, but you have to type Korean to enter in the website. Would you be happy? I don't know. So this is the lovely Korean alphabet. As you can see, it's very simple, maybe even more simple than the Latin alphabet that we utilize. And what about email? So here I pick on Claire a little bit. So Claire would like to use her email, and in this parallel universe, her email would be Claire, of course, more Korean. What happened? Well, it's not so hard once you learn, but you need to change all the time the keyboard in your computer in order to type this kind of address in your. So maybe you don't like this parallel universe, right? I don't know if you disagree with me. I don't, but if you disagree, let me know. So basically, this is just to tell you how people, now speaking seriously, okay, how people feel accessing internet if the ASCII table is not their native language. So here in the screen, you can see the ASCII table. It's a very simple set of characters that is the base of all computer applications. This was adopted much before the internet was created, and it is a simplified set of characters that allow us to express English language perfectly. It's very economic for storing, so not many bytes are necessary to store this ASCII table. Each code has a very limited number of bits to be codified, and that is a problem. The problem is that the simple ASCII table do not represent all the cultures, all the languages that we have in the world today. So thinking about internet, now the internet is a human right for many people around the world. And it is a fundamental tool of development, education, business, and so forth. So we have the commitment, we have the obligation to make the internet as closer to the users as possible. And that means that the internet should be able to speak and write and read in the language of each user, regardless of the type of character that they utilize. This is not something that ICANN said. Actually, ICANN is more an implementer than a decision maker on this, but many fora, internet governance fora around the world are demanding, are orienting towards this direction. As you can see here, discussions on the WISIS at Geneva Summit 2003, people-centered. And when we talk about making should consider the cultures of each user. And among these applications, we have the domain name system. We have the DNS, which most of you may be familiar. And this is the part where ICANN is involved. This is what we do. As part of our mission, ICANN exists to manage the root zone of the internet, making policies for evolving the domain name systems, and keep the domain name system stable, secure, and resilient for all the users as a fundamental application for the good works of the internet. Together with the need for evolving, making the internet people-centered, we also have some huge changes in how people utilize, and especially among new users of the internet who are not coming from English language countries. New users, the next billion users of the internet are not Latin script readers or writers. They speak probably Mandarin, they speak probably Hindi, they speak probably Arabic. So, and the internet is changing its shape. We started as something like purely English. We have all the contents on the internet on English from the beginning. Later on, we are seeing this evolution towards other languages coming in, and among other languages, we also have other scripts. And this is very important to consider, and demands some changes. Let me see if I can. Okay. So as we said, the multilingualism is a key for digital inclusion. So the next users should see an internet that speaks their languages. So this is all we are concerned. And maybe this is the demand, you can say, for the universal acceptance discussions. So other decisions, treaties, there is a huge discussion in several fora who took us to evolve the domain name system for the inclusion of of different set of characters beyond the original ASCII table. So in this map, we see many other set of other scriptures that we have around the world. And what the internet engineers did when these demands on the early 2000s started was to think about how can we include other characters in the domain name system, so we can utilize domain names and email addresses in other set of characters. So they did. We adapted the domain name system. We added new codifications, so today we can perfectly register domain names in other scripts. We'll see examples later on. Here is some explanation about the domain name system. We already mentioned this early on the presentation, but as you know, the domain name system is composed by IP numbers, which identifies each computer, each mobile phone. It's mandatory to have an IP number. And that sometimes there are names. Names are more for web pages, are more for email servers. People can also register names and connect an IP number of the server on this IP name. So the DNS allow the computers to be connected and exchange information among each others without missing the address, missing the correct destination of the message you want to send. And ICANN, of course, is one of the organizations responsible for this. So resuming the story is that in the early 2000s, we start working on including other names in other characters, in other set of scripts, and new names in the internet. For example, the internet was born with 3-letter top-level domains. As you know, the .com, the .net, the .org, and later on we had the inclusion of the country codes, the .tt, the .br. In my case, in Uruguay is .ui, and so forth. But this also evolved. So now we have more than 1,200 new top-level domains. And these new top-level domains do not finish with only 2 letters, do not finish with only 3 letters, but actually much more. We have, for example, on the DNS already working, you can register names under .photography, for instance, or .london. Okay. And together with these longer top-level domains, you can also register something in Arabic. You can also register a domain name in Chinese, as you want. The domain name system is absolutely ready, working, functional to accept all scripts. And there's more. We are also including languages that are from indigenous peoples. We have in our region, this is very interesting, the case of Paraguay, that Paraguay has 2 official languages. One of them is Spanish, of course, and the other is Guarani. Not sure if you are familiar with Guarani, but Guarani is an indigenous language. Guarani is the language that was here before the Spanish people came. And this is very beautiful because still Guarani is very utilized in Paraguay and everybody speaks as a second or first language, and it's official. So we have the country code of Paraguay, .py, and they are including Guarani scripts in the DNS. So soon people will be able to register domain names in Guarani. Guarani scriptures are not like Chinese or not different symbols, but they actually use the Latin script, our ABC. But for the specific sounds, they have some accents, they have some tildes, and they have apostrophe as a character. The apostrophe in Guarani is a consonant, which is very interesting, right? So it is possible to include new scripts anytime in the DNS if you want, okay? So this is the status of the DNS at this point. Here is just a representation of what I just mentioned. Before 2009, we had a limited number of top-level domains, .com, .edu, and from 2009, we started including internationalized domain names for the country code registries. So we see here country codes for Russia, for China, for Korea, and we call this internationalized domain names, IDNs for short. And the first round of new GTLDs from 2012, then we had the big names like the dot photography, as you can see here. So this is a good representation. Not sure if there are any questions. If you are hearing me well, how much time I have? Can I have some guidance? Let's do a little break to see instructions from the floor.
Well, the floor is open to anybody who's got any questions.
Daniel?
Yes?
Hi, Daniel, can you hear me? This is Claire.
Yes? Hi, Claire.
Hi, yes. So, this presentation is quite interesting. We have a few young people in the room here, and so I'm just wondering, for their sake, why should this be important for the English-speaking participants? Why should English-speaking countries be interested in ensuring that their websites conform to accepting these non-ASCII scripts?
Excellent question. Excellent question. Yes. So it is very, very important for those who from English-speaking countries to consider UA as well for the others. And I give you a couple of reasons. Number one, the internet is not only local. You will not interact.
Daniel, you're breaking up a little bit. I'm not sure why, but you're breaking up. Maybe if you stay still or come closer to the mic.
Okay, is it better now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I turn off my video, okay?
Okay,
So
yes.
maybe we save some bandwidth. All right. So good. It's a very good question. Then my answer is yes, it is very important. Maybe you have the best role to play. You have the best competitive advantage. Why? Well, the internet is not only local. You do not use the internet only for accessing services from Trinidad and Tobago among your friends, or even not only are with the United States. The idea for the internet is to connect everywhere, right? And this is very important for our business. So for instance, if you have a very good hotel in Trinidad and Tobago and you want to welcome guests, probably you don't want guests only from America, right? So you want guests from China, they have some money. You want guests from Dubai, they have more money. So if your website is not ready to register guests and make reservations for Chinese guests in Chinese, you may lose business. you may have a problem. So it's very important to consider what is happening in internet or in any case, so you do not fall behind, right? So this is number one. It's good for your business, good for your careers, and especially if you are, I think you are IT guys. I think you are going to develop systems. This is a huge opportunity for you to sell services everywhere if you learn about universal acceptance. Selling services in Brazil, selling services in Europe, whatever. This is something you don't need any big machine. You don't need any laboratory to do it. You can do right now. And this will be demonstrated in the next presentation, how you already did it, okay? And the other reason is about exactly what you can build for your future. Yes, you should be ready for any change that happens in the information technology world, and this is one of them. The good news is that you are not behind. The universal acceptance is happening, recently happening, and you can catch very quickly with global players on this segment. Okay, so hope it answered the question, Claire. Thank you.
Yes, Daniel.
Okay, how much time I have? Claire, Deb, how much time I have left?
You should have about 30 minutes.
Okay, so I'll be quick. So in here you can see the country codes with their equivalent in IDNs. So here's in this map you can see, for example, Korea in the right side, and the dot Hanguk in the Korean characters. So these are all active, working in the internet, and it was launched from 2009. Together with the country codes, we also included generic top-level domains. As you can see in the screen, many examples. These are names of cities, names of business categories, and so forth. I cannot understand much of them, but believe me, these are functional in the internet today. Here below we have the information, more than 90 included. So together with domain names, naturally we have the email addresses evolving. So as you can see here, these are examples of websites in different scripts. As you can see, we can represent any set of scripts in the world today, which is good news. And here are the emails also. So this is important for your job in the hotel in Trinidad and Tobago. You need to make sure your system accepts all these types of emails for welcoming guests, okay? So the guests should be welcome from the first interaction with you in the website. I think this is what good hotels do, right?
Yeah.
So it starts from there. Okay, so now comes the point. You already guess what is the problem of universal acceptance. Even though we did everything all right, everything's ready at the domain name system level, the applications, the internet applications that you develop, that many people develop, that are all around, may have some problems. So here in the screen, you can see somebody with one email in Arabic trying to register for a simple newsletter. Subscribe for free, type your email address. And when they do, type in their internationalized email address, they receive a message from the system. Oh, this is not a valid email address. So our user is very frustrated. he cannot register to your newsletter. Although this is a perfect valid email, it's functional in the DNS, your application are not validating correctly. So this is a universal acceptance problem, and it needs to be fixed. The way to fix this is to update your code. So probably your email validation code are outdated, and you should replace this library, this process for a new one that can consider the new set of internet characters, okay? So this is it. This is the concept of universal acceptance, something that is new on the internet and requires updates in many systems. Finish. This is how you can summarize universal acceptance and explain to your mom if you want. I think she will understand, right? So to give an idea of the scale, some statistics, we tested back in 2022, 2,000 websites from the world, popular websites, okay? Websites that are well done, big ones, internet portals. And we tested registering users, or we tested registering for a newsletter, something like that. We enter on these websites, 2,000 websites, and we try different emails for testing. The first one, RTL, means right to left. This is how this is how we write in Arabic, from the right side to the left side. So the email is also the user on the right side and goes to the left. So this is perhaps the most complex internationalized email we have. And then below we have Unicode, something like a name in Chinese at some domain name in Chinese and so forth. So on this list, the first email address is more complex, and going down, it becomes more simple. So if you test these 2,000 websites with these 7 types of email, we have different levels of acceptance. So basically, the more internationalized the email is, the less he is accepted. So less than 10% of these 2,000 websites actually accepted emails in pure Chinese or emails in pure Arabic. And this is a huge problem. So this is where we are, my friends, in terms of universal acceptance demand. Many work to do. And I brought you here something special, a script. And let me see. Are you here, Chrisling? Chrisling is our dear UA ambassador, perhaps one of the biggest experts in universal acceptance in the Caribbean region, together with Claire and Dev, and our friends from UWI on universal acceptance. Chrisling, if you allow me, she did a very interesting study, specific for the Caribbean. So she took the example of this big test, and she did something for business segment in the Caribbean, which are luxury hotels. So Chrisling took these 6 testing websites, and she tried these testing websites into big list of hotels in the Caribbean. So here we have Jade Mountain Resort, Eden, Copacabana, the Ocean Club. Okay, these are probably hotels that receive foreigners in good amounts, right? And the results were very, very interesting. Actually, it surprised me pretty much. So if you remember, in the 2022 research that I just showed you, only less than 10% of the websites accept one email in Arabic. We look at the case, and this is what Chrisling found. If you look at the case of best Caribbean hotels, they are over 60%. And a little bit more for email in Chinese, which is very interesting. It's very interesting because apparently companies and business that have global exposition to global guests, they are already looking at universal acceptance seriously. And this small set, but very meaningful set of Caribbean business are already quite prepared. But still, there are work to be done. Not 100%. But I want to congratulate Chrislin and tell you that if you'd like to make a study like this, you are more than welcome. We are here to support you. Chrislin and I, Claire, Dev, we will be very happy to guide you doing studies about universal acceptance testing or even recommending changes in website. It's not hard. It's not hard, my friends, and it can be really funny. So here is just to compare with other studies. So the same for email servers. I think just to conclude my presentation, Dev and Claire, we also have statistics for email servers. The numbers do not look good. So far, we only have 23% of email servers worldwide fully capable of handling internationalized domain names. So many work to do with the email server administrators. Fortunately, the big ones, like if you want to send from your Gmail account, if you want to send an email to your Chinese friend, to his Chinese character email, Gmail will do it. Gmail is ready. You can communicate with IDNs, but many others are not. And this is also good news for IT sector because more work to do, right, Deb? So you can check your email. You can go to this website and check your university email, for instance. You can go to uasg.tech-eai check. You can go there, and this website will tell you if your email is ready or not. If it's not ready, send a message to the IT support. Dev will help you for sure. Okay, my friends, I think just to conclude, this is what universal acceptance is all about technically. So you need to be able to accept, validate, process, store, and display all international internet identifiers as if they were the good old ASCII characters. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. Ready for questions.
Yeah. Well, oops, let me just mute myself. Right. Thanks for that, Daniel. So, and actually, without St. Vincent and the Grenadine study was actually also very interesting. I would like to see some more of those slides again. That's perhaps something we can do in Trinidad and Tobago as a little test of the various websites here in Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe that can be done in time for next year's Universal Adoption event. So my question is, okay, you talked about, and I mean, perhaps I might be jumping into a little bit of the case study that we did, but how do you actually track all of these changes coming up in the new top level domains? Because there's going to be a launch of a new round of top level domains happening, perhaps within the next 2 years, barring the discussions taking place at ICANN meetings. How do you actually keep track of all of these changes so that something you write now isn't going to be outdated in the next 2 years or a year from now?
Okay, thank you. If I understood your question, like how can we make sure what we do not be outdated? So what I can tell you is that the standards were developed to accommodate many new set of characters. So this is not ICANN job. This is other bodies like who develop, you know, the Unicode systems and the codifications, UTF-8 and so forth. So these new standards are able to handle many different set of characters, including sets that do not exist yet. So once you have a code that can handle this, these standards, these new standards, I think you will be fine for many years. What we're gonna do in the next round is not changing anything on the internet like we did in the past. So we already changed to make the DNS multilingual. It's ready. It's nothing else to do. The only thing that's gonna happen now is we'll see more top-level domains in internationalized characters. We'll see more domain names being registered in the second level, and so forth. So I think for the implementation, we are quite safe to develop without many risks of being outdated. And the next round, it's fundamental. This is something fundamentally important for the next round, actually, because if we do not start working hard with universal acceptance, we may not see many advantages for registering the internationalized domain names that are important to many people. You see? Because universal acceptance is now a bug. It's a problem. We need to fix websites. If we do not fix, people will not feel safe to use their own languages in the internet. And this is what we are trying to fix, to solve. Thank you.
Daniel, this is Novak Goandan here from Trinidad and Tobago. So my question is, I'm seeing the sort of isolated attempts at collecting data from different countries. Do you think it would be useful if, for example, the Lacralo region coordinates an effort to sort of capture UASG adoption across the region, a sort of centralized approach, so that we could kind of compare like the English-speaking countries, how the adoption rates are compared with you know, our different colleagues across the Latin American region. I think a sort of centralized approach at research and data collection across Lacralo would be incredibly useful, and I don't know where the best place to kickstart that discussion would be, but instead of this fragmented approach in isolating particular countries, I think the at-large structure would be a really good place to get this discussion started.
Hi, Novak. Yes, I fully agree. I fully agree. This is the case of all the help is very, very welcome, especially good quality help. We need to talk with many sectors. Research is important. Another thing that is very important is to talk with universities to consider teaching these topics into their classes, either regular classes or extra classes, I don't know. But we have information to support university professors. Actually, we have all the textbooks ready, fully ready, hundreds of pages for teaching IDNs. And because like we need to prepare the next generation and we need to urge the current developers to start looking. So yes.
Fantastic. So just one follow-up question to that. Do you have a sort of standardized research package so that if any students interested in sort of undertaking research in universal acceptance, if it is something we can pass to our students to sort of get the discussion started with either learning more about universal acceptance aside from the website, but also researching universal acceptance as part of their, you know, undergraduate or postgraduate research?
Absolutely. We have all the tools, and this is the most fun part of the job, in my opinion. Please, we have many research flows, examples, like processes, procedures that we can replicate and do for any sector, for at country level, at regional level, anything. and more. It's very easy to do, relatively easy. And I think the best news is that we can give a lot of visibility to any good study prepared by your students at ICANN level, at meeting level, including your students will be very competitive for ICANN fellowships and next gens for joining the community and being new leaders. I think this
Definitely,
is important.
definitely.
Yeah.
So thanks very much. I really look forward to getting some of these research materials so we can probably connect and share and learn a little bit more about how we can help onboard our students in this area.
Anytime, Novak. If you want a seminar next week to look at these examples, I'll be there. Anytime you want.
I'll shoot you an email. Thanks, Daniel.
Okay.
Daniel, this is Claire again. Just following up on Novak's comment, which I thought was an excellent comment, Novak. So when we focus on universal acceptance, first last year it was about awareness, and this year we're moving towards more adoption. Is there anything on the universal awareness website, or any packages that focuses on research? So if someone is interested in research, is that something that can be done as part of this whole universal acceptance, not just the event, but just ensuring that universal acceptance is something that we can continue to speak to people about? Is there anything specifically related to research in the universal acceptance packaging and communications?
Yes, Claire, thank you for the question. Yeah, and the answer is yes, and I have a specific website to point you, which is the here in the chat, the UASG.tech-document hub. The document hub concentrates all papers, all research that was already done in universal acceptance. And they also have reference documents for you to conduct new research. So you can see what people researched in the past. And also you can see sets of testing emails in IDNs, emails that are configured for you to test websites. And these emails have automatic replies. So you can simulate, like I have a friend in Korea, I'm gonna write him and send him an email in Korean. This email will reply you saying like, okay, I received your email. And this is the automatic reply. So the tools are all there. Yeah. So we don't, for researchers, we don't make things very, very so easy. So you need to read. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Daniel. I'm seeing the link in the chat now, so it's something that we could share as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Just looking at the chat here. Any other questions from the audience? Not seeing any hands raised. Okay. Well, Daniel, I think Daniel, thank you so very much for the session. Very informative, and definitely the UASG.tech website does have a lot of the information regarding universal acceptance and the work that ICANN is doing, and the Universal Acceptance Steering Group is trying to help coordinate with all these materials. So thank you so very much for your session. Thank you. Yeah.
Pleasure anytime. I'm looking forward to the next presentation. And
Yes.
Congratulations in advance.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you for that. So up next, what is going to be interesting is that we're going to look at what UWI Global Campus has done regarding the application portal and what they had to do in order to make their application portal UA ready. So with that, I will turn over the floor to Anna Ramnanan, who will be doing the presentation. Anna?
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone. Look, I'm happy to be here to show what we've been doing with our UA adoption initiative. Okay, so who are we? To give a little context on who we are and what we've been doing, and why we embarked on looking at universal adoption. University of the West Indies, they are a very old university. Well, not very old, but old in terms of the Caribbean. Well, public university system established to serve higher education. And we serve 18 English-speaking countries and territories in the Caribbean. So we have a number of established campuses, first being Mona, St. Augustine in Trinidad, Mona in Jamaica, St. Augustine in Trinidad and Tobago, Cave Hill in Barbados, 5 islands in Antigua, Barbuda, and more recently, Global Campus, which is regional and online. The Global Campus is relatively new, but also not new, and I'll get into that afterwards. So we were established in 2007 to improve services to non-campus territories. So we're a public university, distance learning focused, as well as focused on research, and one of the 5 autonomous units of the University of the West Indies. Now, recently, there was an initiative to restructure, reorganize, re-engineer the open campus into the global campus, which is why we are now called University of the West Indies Global Campus, which is the initiative which emerged on August 1st, 2023. And the idea is to provide a next generation digital institution, and we want to deliver online programs and courses to a global market. So in terms of universal acceptance, this comes at an opportune time for us because we are now focusing on a global market. So for this particular initiative, what we were looking at is the admissions portal. So the admissions portal is an area where potential students can apply and submit their applications for programs that they're interested in. And one of the things that we wanted to look at was making the admissions account creation service ready for universal acceptance. One of the things that we are looking at is the process by which you can first enter an email address. Once that email address is entered, we do client-side validation of the email address. Then we do server-side validation of the email address. Store the email address in a database, and then we use a mail transfer application to use that email address to send a welcome email to the potential applicant. So as you can see, we are able to validate email addresses, regular ASCII email addresses in the application right now. However, in order to do this, we want to be able to support internationalized domain names and internet and email addresses internationalization. So what that looks like is traditional email addresses have the ASCII character set. International email addresses do not. So you can see for international email addresses, you have non-ASCII character emails that can be used as opposed to the ASCII character emails that you see on the left. So when we started doing the testing, what we found is the validation of the email addresses didn't work. And when we tried to validate email addresses with non-ASCII characters, it didn't see them as email addresses. So that was one of our issues that we had to look at. So in-depth testing, we looked at client-side validation, which fails with non-ASCII. Server-side validation also failed with non-ASCII. You couldn't store email addresses, non-ASCII email addresses in the database, and the mail transfer application we're using couldn't use those email addresses to send email out. So we wanted to focus on each of these areas to see if we can get them ready for user. So one of the first fixes we did was client-side validation update. So we use a open source JavaScript library called Validator.js. One of the things that we found is that there are more and more libraries coming out, popular libraries that actually do support the internationalized email addresses. So while it used to be that you would have to implement a lot of this on your own, a lot of it can be fixed by just using a recent and up-to-date library. So in this case, the client-side validation, we just upgraded to a new version of the Validator.js, and that worked out for us in terms of fixing client-side validation. Again, a lot of the applications, open source applications, do support it. You basically have to implement the extensions in terms of PHP, for example. On the server side, we use PHP to validate the email addresses. In order to support the internationalized email addresses, we actually use the PHP international extensions, specifically the IDN to UTF-8 and IDN to ASCII functions, which allow us to convert the ASCII, the non-ASCII to valid ASCII equivalents for us to use within the application. So we don't have to do a lot of rewrites within the application. We basically just implemented this extra layer to support the internationalized email addresses. So on the database side, many of databases support the internationalized non-ASCII characters. You just have to know which database functions to use, and we use the UTF-8 and before character set for the database. The database we were using was MySQL, and we were able to store both the original and the ASCII encoded versions of the email addresses in case we need it. And the fourth item that we did was patch the PHP mailer to send the email. So one of the issues was that the mail library that we're using to send out didn't support the non-ASCII characters. There's a version of PHP mailer that was modified by the UA Technology Senior Manager from ICANN, who helped us a lot, and I'd like to thank him for walking through this process with us and being able to provide us with the versions of the PHP mailer application that he modified to be able to send out. So we were able to use that version to send the email out. So again, you can see that there are a lot of libraries that can be modified as well. PHP Mailer is open source, so basically made a fork of PHP Mailer and made the modifications to that to support the internationalized email addresses. So this is what it looks like now. You can see now we're able to validate the email addresses. So this does both the client side and server side validation. This particular email address is an email address that was provided to us. So we were able to use that email address to create an account. We can also do a mix of both ASCII and non-ASCII characters and validate those as well. And when we send out email, this is what email looks like. Again, thanks to technology manager from ICANN to providing us with this setup where we were able to receive an email address using this particular email here. Sorry. And this is what it looks like when we get the email from our system. So our system was able to send out through the modified PHP mailer these emails to this internationalized address. And this is what the email looks like. So in terms of internationalized domains and internationalized emails, we're going to see more and more of this coming up, especially when we look at operating on a global scale. You'll see that there are browsers that have to support it, and our applications will have to support not just the domain names, but the email addresses as well, in order for users to be able to interact with our applications. And one of the benefits was enhanced global accessibility. We can't, really call yourself a global organization if, as you were saying in the previous presentation, 40-something% of the domains out there aren't ASCII, are internationalized. So you're not really global, you're only global within the ASCII character set. So you want to be able to expand out of that. And with that comes an increased market reach. You're looking at areas that you would not normally be able to service using your application. Also improves the user experience. It is difficult for somebody on the other side who is accustomed to non-ASCII applications, non-ASCII email addresses, to tell them, well, okay, now you need a email address in ASCII. You need to sign up for another email address. That it creates a barrier in terms of user experience. You don't want them to have to be able to switch. And again, compliance and standards adherence. A lot of it comes out to, in the future, a lot of this would be standardized across your applications. And in order to operate in certain areas, in order to operate in certain markets, you need to comply with these standards. So doing this now saves you from having to do it later on in terms of a larger market. So that is basically how we were able to start our journey into universal acceptance. I'd like to thank Risa Hanif, who did the majority of the development work. We are at global.ue.edu. The admissions portal is currently being tested and will be rolled out soon. So we would really like to see how this works out when we roll these features out. So thank you very much, everyone. If anybody has any questions?
Oh, we're going to use the room mic for this. So again, Novak here. from Trinidad. My question, Arnold, is particularly with the fork of PHP Mailer that you would have mentioned. And my concern here is that is this an ICANN supported fork in that they have a development team that will be continuously updating that particular patch? And I'm thinking here about the bus factor in mind. For the non-technical people in the audience, the bus factor is the number of people who could be hit by a bus in a project that would completely wreck the project. So my concern is that if just one person is sort of maintaining this code that is being used for PHP Mailer, the ICANN fork of PHP Mailer, how risky is it to implement in your production facing system? I know I may not be able to answer it, but this is just a sort of you know, a larger concern.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid concern, but I mean, because it's an open source application, the changes within it are not major changes in terms of the PHP Mailer. So it's not like something that nobody else could do. Also, I mean, within the time constraint that we had, we used what and thanks to ICANN, we used what they gave us to use, but it's not like this is the only thing available. There are a lot, and I think the PHP Mailer itself will be updated using these changes to accept non-ASCII characters. So again, it comes down to adoption and time. Same thing with validator.js. It's just we just upgraded that to the regular one, and the same thing goes along with libraries. PHP Mailer is a popular one, but you have any number of libraries out there that do support it right now. So it's just find the right library with the right support behind it. Is no longer, I think, and in terms of doing this, we realize that it's no longer like an esoteric thing, like somebody have to go and hack something to do any more. You have a lot more stuff that supporting this out of the box now. We didn't have as bad of a experience as we would have like if we did this years ago. So I think going a long time, you will see a lot more of this like drag and drop, just change your library, or the libraries that you currently use and will start supporting it.
So I'm glad to hear that, you know, as more companies and more people get involved in universal acceptance, the ecosystem that supports it would also get to a level of maturity.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of apprehension, at least in the English speaking side, is the same concern about such radical new changes to different code bases, and you'll be wondering if how sustainable these changes would be. So the fact that, you know, you guys are pretty comfortable, and the fact that there are so many different options and in this, you know, immersion area should be less of a barrier for different people to consider, you know, adopting universal acceptance. So you know, thanks for that.
So I know that Dave here to here. Again, congratulations. So it's great to see how the testing and how the implementation actually worked out quite well. So I guess the question I want to ask you is, okay, right now the current list of top level domains is static, is steady, so to speak. But there's going to be changes. There's going to be a new round coming up within the next 18 months. You know, barring, you know, all the, assuming everything gets the consensus of the ICANN community to go ahead. How do you then keep up to date? Are you going to have, was it a hard-coded list, or is there some
It's not,
you know, how does it work?
yeah, it's not a hard coded list. So it's not like we looked up a list of domains. It was basically came down to the character set.
Okay.
And supporting non-ASCII character set. So like in terms of PHP, the once you have that international extension, use those IDN to ASCII and IDN to UTF-8 modules. It shouldn't matter what domain it is, it should be able to support it. And that's built into the PHP. So when PHP stuff gets rolled out, the internationalized stuff.
I mean, okay, so like, but then that means fine. So if I created a domain, I call it .com or whatever, talking of the domain, how do you know it's a valid domain name and not a fake one? Let me put it that way.
What do you mean a valid domain name?
Yeah, like, so if I made up a domain name like .David
Yeah, well, I mean,
how do you know?
Right now-
I guess the way you do it is by sending the email and it
yeah,
bounces
right
back.
now, that's what we do. Send the email, it bounces back, it's not a valid domain name.
Okay,
We don't validate specific domain name,
right, okay,
uh, services right now.
okay. Because I know that's one of the challenges of the universal acceptance is that a lot of applications like even WhatsApp and like big applications, apparently they're just using a hard-coded list of what is a
Yeah.
valid domain name.
Yeah,
So
you
when
have that and you have services that you use to.
Yeah.
So you call an API, send it this and ask it, is this a valid? And it comes back, which is useful when it comes to like spam and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but we don't use that right now.
Right.
In this new one, so. It's something we gotta look at, but again. If you rely on a third-party service, that service has to support the internationalized email addresses and the domain names.
See another question from Simon.
Yes, a question from Simon. Anyone?
Simon, I see your hand was raised, please go ahead. Oh, you put it in the chat. Oh, sorry. Let me read the question then for the transcript. So, Simon's question is, Anil, any plans to incorporate web accessibility standards for differently abled persons alongside universal acceptance?
Yeah, so we do have an initiative for web accessibility, not just the admissions and our portal, but within the learning management system as well. In order to support accessibility features. So there's an initiative to do that. I'm not part of that as part of the academic programming, but there's an initiative to support web accessibility.
Okay, excellent.
So I have a question. This is Claire Craig for the transcript record. Anil, really good work. I'm really happy to see that the UWI Global Campus took up the challenge asked by the TTCS for this project for Universal Acceptance Day. My question is that as you showed us at the beginning, the UWI Global Campus is part of a wider ecosystem of the University of the West Indies. How widely is this project known across the UWI, or is it just a small technical group that is currently involved in this? And what plans are there to make this something? Because I think this is big. I mean, we're talking about the University of the West Indies. We're talking about, being able to ensure that students from across the globe are able to apply to the University of the West Indies. So how much of this has been marketed? How much of this does the UWI know about this project at this time? And what plans are there to share this information with the West Indies?
Well, no, I don't think the general UWI ecosystem knows about this. This was just basically a project that we started by the end of last year. Beginning of this year. It's very, very quickly put together. And it was, like I said, it was a fortuitous time for us because we had just moved to being global campus. It is something that kind of fit into what we should be doing as a global campus. I think once we've done this, we definitely will be documenting it. Definitely will be looking at the process and trying to implement it in other areas within the campus, because it's not just this application. We have many other applications that would need to support the internationalized domain names and email addresses. So yeah, the technical part we did, the marketing part not so much yet, but we would definitely want to start doing that.
Yeah, and Claire, again, a follow-up question. How widely known is this within the UWI Global Campus? So is it just, again,
It's just a technical team. It's good because it was a technical exercise to see if we could do it. And we could. So because we were, when we started, we weren't sure, and when we engaged ICANN, was basically, they told us, well, see how far you could get with what you have to see if you could implement it. And we were able to, and we were able to without, I would say, major rewrites to the application. So I wouldn't say it was painless, but it wasn't as painful as we initially would have thought it would be. So, I mean, it was basically a small technical project right now. But yeah, I mean, it works and we see the results. So it's something that we definitely now could bring to the wider UWI Global audience.
And final question, Claire, again. The system that this was applied to, was it an in-house system written by the UWI Global, or was it a purchase?
It's an in-house system that we had, and in-house system that we had running for Open Campus, and now we're moving to Global Campus. There are changes being made to the system, and those changes, we want to roll this into the new version of the admissions system.
Again, congratulations on the work done by UWI Global.
And just to kind of pick up where Claire left off, because I don't think she explicitly said it, but I think I connected some dots here. I think what might happen is that clients of these other enterprise systems may start to put pressure upwards on these vendors for UA compliance on the solutions that they're providing to us. Right. So, using the homegrown system as a sort of use case. The other enterprise system on campus, it might just be a simple matter of asking the vendors, what is your roadmap for universal acceptance? And if it isn't on your agenda, when will it be on your agenda? Because we are now trying to establish our presence globally. So we're trying to attract a global pool of students. So as part of the enterprise systems that, we subscribe to, it would, benefit us tremendously. So it's a really interesting discussion.
Yeah, David Antwerp, I also know that ICANN itself went through an exercise where they were going through this process, and I believe they have documented it on their website. They work with various vendors, because ICANN is a very global organization. Various officers obviously communicating with people all over the world. So they had to go through a rigorous process of when they were updating the website, updating their email systems and so on, and I think that they managed to achieve UA readiness this year. I think I saw a blog post of that milestone. And actually, and when you roll out the actual system, you can also make mention that that it is UA ready, and that person from anywhere in the world, and apply for whatever what the UWI Global Campus is offering. Yeah, we also be very good. Any questions? Sure. Well, actually, I have one more question, and then David, let's say. So you said it was a lot easier than you thought it would have been to update the thing. So do you think that I guess what advice, is there any particular advice or workflow or for any organization that's going to listen to this recording and say, well, maybe we should try to do this? What's the
Yeah, so I think in terms of our application, the two major things were the validation and the email. Because with both, we were using like open source libraries. I would say, look at the libraries that you're using, because more than likely, a lot of them may already support. It may just be turning on a flag or something within the library to check. It may just be using some extra functions in order to do the validation. But if you already have a library that does validation, it could be that does support the internationalized email addresses. So, I mean, do a review of your application, look at the libraries you're using. If they are external libraries, especially open source libraries, look at whether they do support it, because some of them already do, and what their roadmap is. Because there are other libraries too that, you could basically drop in and substitute as well. So you don't have to rewrite the entire, well, again, it depends on how you wrote your, your application as well. I mean, we wrote it pretty modular so that, we could add and remove stuff easily in the application. So if you've done it like that, you should be able to just remove stuff and substitute something that's compliant in the application.
Any questions? This is what you're here for. I'm just asking the people in the group itself. And of course, online, if there's any questions, you can type it in the chat. Daniel. Daniel, clearly any comments on what you've seen?
Yes, very happy. I think first we should celebrate this a lot. I would like to ask your permission to report back, prepare some posts and maybe more presentations during our future events, if possible. Congratulations. And I have a question about, do you plan to keep monitoring the universal acceptance in your systems for the time being, or this is something that you may turn off for some concerns or some practice that you already have?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely will monitor it. We have a mix of homegrown applications and vendor provided applications. So in terms of the homegrown applications, we want to take a look at those and see what we have to do. And with the vendor, like Novak said, it's basically asking the vendors what their roadmap is, if they support it, and what their timeline would be for supporting it. But it is definitely something that we have to look at, because this to me, this really only works if the entire thing supports it, the entire ecosystem. So our entire suite of applications have to be able to support it, because we don't want them to come here, but then if you log into the student system or log into some other service, then you have a roadblock there. So but yeah, we definitely want to monitor it, because as we've seen, I mean, it can be done. So we want to be able to continue with it.
Thank you so much. And my last question is, did you had any ideas for the next UA Day 2025? Will be received.
I'll give that to Dave.
Okay.
I think we'll start working, Daniel. This is Dave. We'll start working on that after this.
Okay, you are more than welcome. Okay, just to say.
Actually, well, that's another question then. So, okay, so the UA port, the admissions portal works now in that sense. But now is the next phase, is there a next phase in like, for the, like, say, the learning content? Well,
I mean, we have to, the learning content management system that we use is Moodle, so open source application. So we have to look and see if that supports it and what the roadmap is in terms of that particular
that's
application.
the next phase.
I mean, we, in terms of our services and systems, we basically very much, entrenched in the ASCII based
Yeah, of course.
stuff, right? So,
That's true.
so, university supplies email addresses to students and that kind of thing. So, really, when you get to that point, like those things, it's within the email addresses that are provided to the students and that kind of thing. So the question is, would we want to support right? So if you have that, because I mean, I know like UWI does a lot of stuff, initiatives with China and that kind of thing. I haven't been involved in that, but I mean, it would be interesting to know what the thought process would be if we were to, support, Chinese character email addresses for those students that come in. But that's like a bigger conversation, like, a much bigger kind of
I get that.
conversation.
Just to clear again speaking, just to follow up, I remember in the early days, the St. Augustine campus used to recruit a lot of medical students from Bangladesh.
Yes.
So again, you're talking about, an opportunity for us to reach out and even recruit more global students.
So Novak here, the UE use case is fairly, I'm not gonna say narrow, because the UA in the university ecosystem is primarily in the funnel to get people inside the ecosystem, because once they're inside the UE ecosystem, as Anna mentioned, the UE would provide their an email address, they'll provide access to the different platforms. Now, I could see to some extent where internationalization and language translation coming into play, but that's not necessarily tied directly to universal acceptance. But the LMS does have language translation built into the code, so that if a course is delivered, for example, in Arabic, it is possible to switch the entire course to Arabic once you toggle some switches, but it's not really tied necessarily into universal acceptance. And as Anil said, the conversation of generating email addresses and profiles in non-ASCII or non-Latin scripts is a much larger discussion.
Well, because of greetings from Diego Acosta Batistas from Ecuador, which is an ALS in La Bravo. Thanks, Diego. Any questions? I'm not seeing anything in the participants. All right.
I think the young developers are a little shell shocked. I think this is the first time they're really getting exposed to universal acceptance, so they will put them on the spot on it.
Great. All right, well, and thanks again for this presentation. And I think we look forward to this when we develop the final report to submit it. I think it'll be great for everyone. Well, thanks again. Yeah.
All right, thanks everyone.
Please stop the screen sharing. Stop the share. Lovely. All right, thanks. Now, I believe before we go to the Dr. Claire Twigg, I think Harold Arcos is on the session. So Harold Arcos is the chair of the Latin American and Caribbean Regional at-large organization. So Harold, if you wanted to say, give a few opening, closing, I guess, come to the closing remarks of the session. Go ahead. You may be muted.
Thank you, Dev. Thank you, Claire. Can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Good to see you again. Thank you, Dev. Thank you, Claire, Lance. So first of all, congratulations to all members of the team of coordination and realization of this important event for Latin America. We are enjoying that with the excellent professors explaining the details of universal acceptance story. This topic represents the key to help us close the gap of more than 3 billion people who are still not connected. Yeah, that is why we are promoting these events throughout the Latin America region. And this is why we invite you, yeah, you, all participants, to become propagators of this concept that we are learning and deep today. We invite all participants to contact the regional organization of end users who works voluntarily from La Cralo within ICANN organization so that you can know the ways of participation that will lead you to have a greater impact on the ecosystem of the internet governance. From La Cralo organization, as you know, we keep the doors open to facilitate the interesting path in your life, in your professional life, in your personal life. It's a big and greater networking. So I want to ratify and once again to very happy to have this event. Congratulations to our regional organ leaders in the Caribbean. Congratulations, Dev. All Latin America knows about your work, your constance and consistency. So congratulations for this, for Claire, a great leader we have today, Lance, Carlton, all Caribbean leaders. Please, who don't rest in promoting these issues within Latin American region. We are happy to have these events. We hope will be a happy day for everyone and that we will learn a lot about universal acceptance. Please contact us through our ALS leaders to all Caribbean ALS to participate to become a diffuser of these important issues. Okay, is a great day. You have a great day. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks, Claire. Thanks, Dev. Thanks, Lance. It's a big hoop from here.
Gracias. Okay, thanks, Harold. And so next we have our closing remarks from coming up here. Dr. Claire Craig, who is the current ALAC Vice Chair in ICANN.
Thank you, Dev. Thanks, everyone. And for those of you who don't know what ALAC is, the At-Large Advisory Committee of ICANN, and ICANN is the Internet Corporation of Assigned Names and Numbers. So I am Claire Craig, and I guess my closing remarks will come more as a vote of thanks. Let me just start by saying I am so pleased to be part of the second Universal Acceptance Day event that is being hosted in the Caribbean. We had two in the Caribbean last year. And again, I'm happy that we've been able to have two again this year in the Caribbean. The first one this year was in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as you would have heard from Daniel. And our Universal Ambassador is Chrislyn, who is actually on this call as well. And last year, we in Trinidad and Tobago hosted our Universal Acceptance Day with the Telecommunications Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. And it was also supported by our ALSs, which were the Trinidad and Tobago Computer Society, which Dev is the director of, as well as the Internet Society of Trinidad and Tobago chapter. So again, this year, we are happy that they have agreed to put on this event and have now brought in a new partner, the UWI Global Campus. The other interesting thing about this year, well, last year it was actually awareness campaign that was hosted to help people to understand the value of universal acceptance. This year we were able to take it a lot further, and I am pleased to say that I stayed out of everything leading up to this today. So I did not know what we were going to see. So I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, I knew it was successful, but I did not know the extent of the success. And I am really pleased at the work that the team has done to show that we in the Caribbean have the skills to be able to have websites that are not just ASCII, and that we now have international domain, internationalized domain names and email addresses. So congratulations on this excellent, excellent effort. And we just need to ensure that we do more of this and that we promote more of this. What this shows to me as well is that, again, as Caribbean developers, we have a service that we can offer globally. You know, we tend to think of ourselves as small island developing nations, which we are, but we have unique challenges here, and we look for solutions for our challenges. And a lot of these solutions are solutions that can be globally implemented. And this is how we can develop our economics and make ourselves marketable and make ourselves, you know, we do have skills that are needed globally. So this is something that we need to see, and that is why we encourage our developers to attend these sessions. So thanks again, let me just say thanks to Dev and the Trinidad and Tobago Computer Society, to Niran Bihari from the Internet Society of Trinidad and Tobago chapter, and from Anil Ramnanan from the UWI Global Campus, and Harold Arcos from LACRALO, the Latin America and the Caribbean Regional At-Large Association, for being part of this event. I also want to thank the videos that were presented at the beginning by the ICANN team, the chair of ICANN board, this ICANN acting CEO, the ICANN vice president of global domains and strategy, as well as the chair of the UASG. In addition, Daniel, we thank you for your support always, for helping us to host a universal acceptance event, because you always support the Caribbean, and we thank you so much for that. You know, we recognize that the Caribbean is part of Latin America and the Caribbean, and we want that C to be very prominent in Latin America and the Caribbean, right? So thank you, Daniel. We thank Anil again and his team for the effort. I know he said it started at the end of the year, the end of last year. So you've done quite a lot in a short time, 5 months, to have this success, and we wish you, additional success in the future, and anything that we can do to assist moving forward, please reach out to us. Thanks to the Campus IT Services team for providing this room where we can meet. This is a hybrid event. Last year, the event was completely online. So this year, at least we were able to have it hybrid. So we do have some persons in the room, as well as those of you online. So thanks to SIPS. And again, thanks to all of you who turned up both in person and online for this event. And I don't think I am missing Oh, yes. Thank you, ICANN, for all the support, not just Daniel, but the whole UA team for working with us to make this happen. And we look forward to UA Day 2025 to working with you on this again. All the best to all of you. And again, have a great and wonderful day. Thank you. You want me to close? Yeah. So with that, we close this event for today. And again, thanks everyone for attending. And we look forward to continuing our conversations. We look forward to that research project that Novak brought up and to do a lot more with you in the future. Enjoy everyone and bye-bye. Ending the meeting.